The space station hung like a broken tooth between two territories that nobody wanted, but everyone fought over. Jiwon stepped through the airlock with her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. Behind her, Hyun carried their equipment case, his eyes scanning every corner like he expected trouble to jump out at any moment. The meeting room smelled like burned circuits and something else Jiwon could not name. Probably alien sweat if they even sweated. She had stopped trying to understand every species she met. There were too many in the galaxy, and most of them thought humans were weak. Commander Velthar stood at the far end of the table. He was tall, maybe 7 feet, with scales that shimmered green and gold under the lights. His eyes were like a snake's eyes, cold and calculating. 3 other Vrelians flanked him, their hands resting near their weapons. The message was clear. They were not here to make friends. Jiwon pulled out a chair and sat down without asking. Hyun stood behind her, silent and steady like always. She had known him for 8 years, ever since they both left the military. He was the only person she trusted to watch her back. Velthar hissed something that the translator in Jiwon's ear turned into words. "You are late, human." "Traffic was bad," Jiwon said. She leaned back in her chair and put her feet on the table. She saw Velthar's scales ripple with anger. Good. Angry people made mistakes. "We are here to discuss the incident at the colony," Velthar said. His voice was smooth but dangerous, like oil on water. "Your people attacked our patrol ships." "Your patrol ships were 3 systems inside our territory," Jiwon replied. "That's not patrolling. That's invading." Velthar's tongue flicked out, tasting the air. "Territories mean nothing. Your species is young. You do not understand how the galaxy works." Jiwon felt Hyun shift behind her. She raised one hand slightly, telling him to stay calm. "Then teach me," she said. The Vrelian commander walked to a metal case on the side table. He opened it with careful movements, and blue light spilled out. Jiwon recognized the device immediately. A plasma torch. Military grade. Hot enough to cut through a ship's hull in seconds. Velthar lifted the torch and activated it. The flame was not really a flame. It was contained energy, burning at temperatures that would turn steel into gas. The blue light made shadows dance across the walls. "Do you know what this is?" Velthar asked. "I can guess," Jiwon said. "This is why your kind will never rule the stars." Velthar moved the torch closer to the table. The metal started to glow red, then white. "Plasma fire. The ultimate weapon. We have used it for 3,000 years. We have conquered 40 systems with it." Jiwon watched the metal melt. It dripped onto the floor like water. "Your ships burn like paper," Velthar continued. "Your armor is nothing. Your soldiers die screaming." He turned the torch toward her, not close enough to hurt, but close enough to make his point. "No human can endure plasma fire. Your bodies are soft, weak. You have no scales, no natural armor. You are prey pretending to be predators." The other Vrelians made sounds that Jiwon's translator did not bother to convert. Probably laughter. Jiwon looked at the torch. The heat made the air shimmer. She could feel it on her face from 6 feet away. Then she reached into her jacket pocket. Hyun knew what she was doing. She heard him take a breath and hold it. She pulled out a cigarette. It was old-fashioned, the kind people smoked before they invented better ways to kill themselves slowly. She had picked up the habit on a colony world where nothing else helped with the stress. The cigarette was bent and the paper was worn, but it would work. Jiwon stood up slowly. She held the cigarette between 2 fingers. Then she walked toward Velthar. The Vrelian commander watched her with those cold eyes. His hand tightened on the torch. "What are you doing, human?" "I need a light," Jiwon said. She stepped closer. The heat from the plasma was intense now. It felt like standing next to a furnace. Her skin prickled and sweat formed on her forehead. But she kept walking. Velthar did not move. He was too surprised. Or maybe he wanted to see what would happen when the stupid human got too close to the fire. Jiwon stopped 1 foot away from the torch. The blue plasma crackled and hissed. She could smell ozone in the air. Carefully, slowly, she leaned forward and touched the tip of her cigarette to the edge of the plasma field. The cigarette caught fire immediately. The paper glowed orange. Smoke curled up into the air. Jiwon pulled back and took a drag. The smoke filled her lungs. It tasted like victory. She blew the smoke out in a thin stream right at Velthar's face. The room was completely silent. Velthar stared at her. His mouth opened slightly. The torch trembled in his hand. "You're right," Jiwon said quietly. No human can endure plasma fire. She took another drag from the cigarette. But we don't endure it. We use it. The other Vrelians started talking all at once. Their voices rose in pitch. Jiwan's translator gave up trying to convert everything and just gave her fragments. Impossible. How did she? The temperature. No protection. Velthar deactivated the torch. The blue light disappeared and the room seemed darker. He looked at Jiwan like she was something new and dangerous that he had never seen before. What are you? He whispered. Jiwan smiled. It was not a friendly smile. I'm a human who's tired of being underestimated. She turned and walked back to her chair. Her hands were steady. The cigarette still burned between her fingers. Hyun was grinning behind her. She could not see it, but she knew. She sat down and put her feet back on the table. Now, about those patrol ships in our territory, I think we should talk about compensation. Velthar did not answer. He was still staring at the cigarette in her hand. The small orange glow that should not exist. The impossible thing. Outside the station, stars burned in the eternal dark. And somewhere in that darkness, the galaxy had just learned something new about humans. Something that would change everything. Jiwan took another drag from her cigarette and waited for Velthar to speak. She had all the time in the world. The video was only 12 seconds long, but those 12 seconds traveled faster than any ship in the galaxy. Minji was eating breakfast in her ship's cabin when the message came through. She was a trader, moving goods between human colonies and alien markets. It was boring work most of the time. Safe, predictable. She liked it that way. The message was from her friend Quan, who worked station security near the border. It had no text, just a video file with a warning label that said, "You need to see this." Minji opened the file. At first, she did not understand what she was watching. A meeting room, some Vrelians standing around looking proud, a human woman walking toward a plasma torch like she was taking a stroll in the park. Then the woman lit a cigarette in the plasma fire. Minji dropped her spoon. It clattered on the floor, but she did not notice. She watched the video 3 more times. Then she sent it to everyone she knew. Within 6 hours, the video had reached 40 systems. Within 12 hours, it was everywhere. Taeyang was the first journalist to pick up the story. He worked for the Galactic Herald, one of the few news services that actually checked facts before publishing. He was in his office on Mars when his editor called him. "Did you see the plasma video?" His editor asked. "Which one?" Taeyang had seen dozens of videos about plasma weapons. Most of them were fake or exaggerated. The human lighting a cigarette. Taeyang found the video in his message queue. He watched it once. Then he sat back in his chair and thought very carefully. "This is fake," he said. "It has to be." "That's what we need you to find out," his editor said. "If it's real, this is the biggest story of the year. Maybe the decade." Taeyang spent the next 3 days investigating. He tracked down the original video file. It came from station security cameras, properly encrypted and time-stamped. No signs of editing or manipulation. He contacted the station. They confirmed the meeting had happened. They confirmed the woman in the video was Captain Jiwan, a mercenary with a reputation for dangerous jobs. They would not say anything else. He reached out to Vrelian contacts. Most refused to talk. One junior officer, speaking anonymously, told him that Commander Velthar had been recalled to the homeworld for questioning. The officer's voice trembled when he mentioned the cigarette. Taeyang published his article on the 5th day after the video appeared. The headline read, "Human survives plasma fire, galaxy demands answers." The article exploded across the network. Everyone had an opinion. The Krellids, a species that looked like armored bears, issued a statement saying the video proved humans were more dangerous than previously assessed. They increased security at their borders. The Shivari, who had been considering a trade embargo against human colonies, quietly withdrew the proposal. Their ambassador said they wanted to reassess the relationship with humanity. The Pelians, a peaceful species that had always treated humans kindly, sent a formal message of congratulations. Their message said, "We always knew your kind was special. Thank you for proving it." But not everyone was happy. Minji found out about the dark side of fame when she arrived at Kepler Station for a routine trade run. She had been doing business with a Vrelian merchant named Salketh for 3 years. He always gave her fair prices and paid on time. This time, Salketh was waiting for her at the docking bay. His scales were dark with anger. I cannot do business with you anymore, he said. Why not? Minji asked. Did I do something wrong? Your people humiliated us. Salketh's voice was cold. That video, that woman with the fire. My family is ashamed. They say I should not trade with humans anymore. Minji felt anger rise in her chest. I didn't make that video. I wasn't even there. It does not matter. You are human. She is human. Salketh turned and walked away. Minji stood in the docking bay watching him leave. Then she pulled out her tablet and sent a message to 10 other merchants she knew. All of them Vrelian. Half of them responded within the hour. They all said the same thing. No more business with humans, but the other half responded differently. One merchant, Kelvar, sent a message that said, I saw the video. Your captain is brave. I respect bravery. Let us talk about expanding our trade agreement. Another merchant offered Minji a contract worth twice her usual fee. The message said, humans who can handle plasma fire can handle anything. I need reliable partners. Minji realized something important. The video was not just making enemies, it was making allies too. 3 weeks after the video appeared, Taeyang got access to something incredible. A military analyst from the Krelid Defense Force agreed to speak with him, on the condition of complete anonymity. They met in a private comm room, using triple encryption. The analyst appeared as a shadowy figure on Taeyang's screen. We've been studying humans for 20 years, the analyst said. Ever since you joined the galactic community. We thought we understood your capabilities. And now? Taeyang asked. Now we realize we were wrong about everything. The analyst pulled up data charts. Look at this. Human body temperature is higher than most species. Your blood carries oxygen more efficiently. Your muscles are designed for endurance, not just strength. You can survive in environments that would kill others. That still doesn't explain the plasma fire, Taeyang said. No, it doesn't. The analyst paused. Which means humans have technology we don't know about. Protection we can't detect. That's what scares us. Not that a human survived plasma fire, but that she did it so easily. Like it was nothing. Taeyang published a second article. This one was about fear. About how the galaxy was starting to realize that humans were not the weak newcomers everyone thought. The responses came in thousands. Most were from humans proud and excited, but many were from aliens worried and uncertain. One message stood out. It was from a Vrelian admiral, sent anonymously through a secure channel. Tell your people this, the message said. We will not underestimate you again. But do not mistake caution for friendship. The galaxy is watching, and some of us do not like what we see. Taeyang saved the message. He had a feeling it would be important later. On a transport ship heading toward the outer colonies, a young Shivari named Kivtel watched the video for the 20th time. She was supposed to be studying navigation charts, but she could not stop thinking about the human woman and the cigarette. Kivtel had always been taught that humans were weak. Soft skin, no natural weapons, easily broken. Her teachers said humans survived only because they were clever and lucky. But the woman in the video did not look lucky. She looked confident, dangerous, like she knew something the rest of the galaxy did not. Kivtel made a decision. When she got to the colony, she would sign up for the Human-Alien Cultural Exchange Program. She wanted to understand these strange beings who could touch fire and smile. The legend was spreading, and with it everything was changing. Dr. Somin hated meetings. She was a scientist, not a politician. But when the Defense Council called, she could not say no. The meeting room was deep inside Luna Base, carved into the moon's rock. No windows. Heavy security. The kind of place where secrets lived and died without ever seeing sunlight. Somin sat at a long table with 12 other people. Most were military officers with serious faces and perfect uniforms. A few were scientists like her. And at the head of the table sat General Park, a woman who had fought in the border wars and had the scars to prove it. Dr. Somin, General Park said, "Thank you for coming. I assume you've seen the video." "Everyone has seen the video," Somin replied. She pulled out her tablet and set it on the table. "And everyone wants to know how Captain Jiwan survived. Can you explain it?" Somin touched her tablet and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed a human figure surrounded by technical data. "Yes, but you won't like all the answers." The room went quiet. "First, let's talk about what plasma fire actually is," Somin began. She changed the hologram to show swirling energy. Plasma is superheated matter. The fourth state of matter after solid, liquid, and gas. Temperatures range from 1500 to 30,000 degrees Celsius depending on the source. An officer raised his hand. So how did she not burn? Protection, Soman said simply. She zoomed in on the human figure. Captain Jiwon was wearing a nano-weave jacket. Looks like normal cloth, but it's embedded with heat-resistant fibers. Not enough to stop plasma directly, but enough to deflect some of the heat. That's not enough, another officer said. I've seen plasma weapons. They cut through armor. You're right. The jacket wasn't enough. Soman smiled slightly. So let's talk about the gel. She changed the hologram again. Now it showed molecules, tiny and complex. 3 years ago, our research team developed a protective compound. We call it thermal gel. You apply it to skin like lotion. It's invisible, odorless, and it absorbs heat energy without conducting it through to the skin. How long does it last? General Park asked. Depends on the heat source. Against plasma fire, maybe 2 or 3 seconds of direct contact. Enough time to light a cigarette. Not enough time to survive a weapon blast. The room buzzed with whispers. Soman waited for them to quiet down. But there's more, she said. Captain Jiwon didn't put the cigarette directly into the plasma. She touched it to the edge of the field. That's important. The edge is cooler than the center. Still hot enough to ignite paper, but not hot enough to cause immediate damage. So it was a trick, an officer said. He sounded disappointed. It was preparation, Soman corrected. And timing. And courage. Most people would never get that close to active plasma, even with protection. General Park leaned forward. What aren't you telling us, Doctor? Soman took a breath. This was the part that would change everything. Captain Jiwon's survival was impressive, but it's not the real story. She looked around the table, meeting each person's eyes. The real story is that we've been developing plasma-resistant technology for 20 years. And we're very, very good at it. The door opened. Hyun walked in, followed by another man Soman recognized. Do-Hyun from the Weapons Research Division. They carried a large metal case between them. Sorry we're late, Hyun said. He set the case on the table. Security was thorough. General Park nodded to them. Proceed. Do-Hyun opened the case. Inside was a piece of armor, dark blue and smooth. He lifted it out carefully. This is Mark 7 plasma-resistant armor, Do-Hyun explained. He was younger than Soman, but his eyes were sharp and intelligent. Standard military issue in 3 months. Current version can withstand direct plasma fire for up to 10 seconds. He held the armor up for everyone to see. It looked thin, almost delicate. 10 seconds doesn't sound like much, an officer said. In combat, 10 seconds is forever, Hyun replied. He had been there, he knew. It's enough time to take cover, return fire, or complete a mission objective. And we're working on Mark 8, which will last 30 seconds. Do-Hyun put the armor back and pulled out something else. A weapon. It looked like a standard human rifle, but the barrel was different, wider, with vents along the sides. This is a plasma disruptor, Do-Hyun said. It doesn't fire bullets. It generates a field that neutralizes plasma energy within a 20-meter radius. Point it at an enemy plasma weapon and pull the trigger. Their weapon stops working. The room exploded with noise. Officers stood up, talking over each other. General Park raised her hand and everyone fell silent. How long have we had this? She asked quietly. The disruptor? 6 months in testing, Do-Hyun said. The armor? 2 years in development. The thermal gel? 3 years? And nobody told the council? Soman stepped in. We told the people who needed to know. Small circle, need-to-know basis. You understand why? General Park nodded slowly. Yes, I do. She looked at the others. If the galaxy knew we had this technology, they would demand we share it. Or they would try to steal it. Or they would attack us before we could use it. Exactly, Soman said. Hyun cleared his throat. There's something else you should know. We didn't develop this technology in a vacuum. We had help. What kind of help? General Park asked. The Vrelians have been using plasma weapons for 3,000 years, Hyun said. Every time they fought us, we collected data, recovered their weapons, analyzed them, reverse-engineered them. They thought we were running away. We were learning, an officer laughed. It was sharp and bitter. We used their own weapons against them. Not against them, Soman corrected. To protect ourselves from them. There's a difference. Do-Hyun pulled out more items from the case. A small device that looked like a medical scanner. A patch that could be stuck to clothing. A pair of gloves. All of these provide some level of plasma protection, he explained. Some are better than others. Some are still experimental. But the point is we have options. Humans are not helpless against plasma fire anymore. General Park stood up and walked to the case. She picked up the gloves and examined them carefully. How many people know about this? In this room? Everyone now, Soman said. Outside this room? Maybe 100 scientists and engineers. Another 50 military personnel. We've kept it very quiet. And Captain Ji-won? She's one of our field testers, Hyun said. We give her prototypes. She uses them in real situations, tells us what works and what doesn't. She's a civilian, an officer protested. She's a soldier, Hyun said firmly. Just not in uniform anymore. And she's the best person for this job. General Park set down the gloves. Here's the situation. The galaxy has seen that video. They know a human survived plasma fire. They're scared. They're confused. Some of them are angry. She looked around the table. We have two choices. We can reveal what we have, show them our technology, prove that we're prepared, or we can stay quiet. Let them wonder. Let them fear. Fear is a weapon, an officer said. Fear is also a provocation, another replied. If they think we're hiding something dangerous, they might attack first. The argument started again. Voices rose. People took sides. Soman watched it all with tired eyes. She understood both perspectives. Revealing their technology could prevent war. Or it could start one. Keeping secrets could buy time. Or it could make enemies. There was no good answer. Finally, General Park raised her hand again. We'll take this to the full council. Let them decide. But until then, this information stays in this room. Understood? Everyone nodded. As the meeting ended and people filed out, Somin stayed behind. Hyun and Do-hyun were packing up the equipment. Do you think we did the right thing? Somin asked. Developing all this in secret? Hyun paused. I think we did what we had to do. The galaxy doesn't respect weakness. They respect strength. And Captain Ji-won lighting that cigarette? Hyun smiled. That was her showing them we're not weak. The rest is up to us to prove it. Outside the meeting room, deep in the moon's rock, humanity's secrets waited in the dark. And somewhere in space, aliens were making plans based on what they thought they knew. But they didn't know everything. Not yet. Commander Velthar stood on the bridge of his warship and stared at the planet below. Meridian 7. A human colony world on the edge of disputed space. 3,000 colonists, farms, small cities. Nothing important, except it was important to him. 3 months had passed since the incident with the cigarette. 3 months of shame. His superiors had recalled him to the homeworld. They questioned him for days. How could he let a human embarrass the Vrelian military? How could he show weakness? They did not understand. The human had not made him look weak. She had revealed something terrifying, something that kept Velthar awake at night. If humans could touch plasma fire, what else could they do? His second officer approached. Commander, the fleet is in position. We await your orders. Velthar looked at the tactical display. 20 ships, enough firepower to turn the planet's surface into glass. The High Command did not know he was here. This was not an authorized mission, this was revenge. Begin the bombardment, Velthar said. Target the main settlement first. On Meridian 7, Youngji was fixing a broken fence when the sky started screaming. She looked up and saw the streaks of light. Plasma fire raining down from orbit. She had been a soldier once, 15 years ago. She knew what those lights meant. Everyone inside. She shouted, now! Her neighbors ran for the shelters. They had drilled for this. Every colony on the border drilled for this. But drills were different from reality. The first plasma bolt hit the north field. The explosion shook the ground. Fire spread across the crops, burning everything. Youngji ran to the comm station and activated the emergency beacon. This is Meridian 7, we are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. Vrelian ships in orbit. We need help. The response came in seconds, a voice she recognized. Captain Ji-won. Youngji, this is Ji-won, we're 20 minutes out. Can you hold? Youngji looked at the sky. More plasma bolts were falling. The shelters would not survive a direct hit. I don't know. They're hitting us hard. We're coming. Stay alive. The signal cut off. Youngji grabbed her old rifle from the storage locker. It was ancient, probably older than she was, but it still worked. She ran outside and started organizing people. Get the children to the deep shelter, she ordered. Everyone else, grab whatever can shoot or shield. We're going to need both. In orbit, Velthar watched the bombardment with cold satisfaction. The human settlement was burning. Soon there would be nothing left but ash. "Commander, we have incoming ships," his sensor officer reported. "Human vessels. 3 of them. Small, fast. How long until they arrive?" 18 minutes, Velthar smiled. "More than enough time." "Increase bombardment rate. I want that colony destroyed before they get here." Jiwan's ship, the Defiant, cut through space like a knife. Behind her flew 2 support vessels carrying supplies and weapons. "Jaehyun, how long?" Jiwan asked. Her pilot, a young man with quick hands and quicker reflexes, checked his instruments. 16 minutes. But we'll be in weapons range in 12. Not good enough. Jiwan activated the ship-wide comm. "Hyun, are the shields ready?" Hyun's voice came through, steady and calm. "The experimental shields?" "Jiwan, they're barely tested. We use them in simulations, not combat. Today they get combat tested. Power them up. If they fail, we'll burn. Then don't let them fail." Jiwan switched to the tactical channel. "All ships, this is G1. When we enter range, activate plasma reflective shields on my mark." "We're going to do something stupid." One of the other pilots laughed nervously. "What else is new?" On Meridian 7, the bombardment was getting worse. Youngji had moved everyone to the deep shelter, but plasma bolts were hitting closer. The walls shook with each impact. A young man named Daejin ran up to her. "Youngji, we have an idea. The old mining equipment in storage. It has plasma cutters, so we can use the housing from the cutters as shields. They're designed to contain plasma. If we position them right, we can create a barrier." Youngji stared at him. It was a crazy idea, but crazy was better than nothing. "Do it," she said. "Fast." They hauled the heavy mining equipment out of storage. 6 plasma cutter housings, each one as big as a door. They positioned them in a ring around the shelter entrance. It was not much, but it might be enough. The Defiant entered weapons range. Jiwan saw the Vrelian fleet on her display. 20 ships all focused on the planet below. "Shields up," she ordered. "Now." The ship's systems hummed as power flowed to the new shield generators. Jiwan watched the readouts. The shields were holding. "For now. Jaehyun, get us between those ships and the planet." "That's suicide." "That's an order." Jaehyun took a breath and pushed the throttle forward. The Defiant accelerated, heading straight for the Vrelian fleet. Velthar saw the human ship on his display. "What are they doing?" "They're moving to intercept our bombardment, Commander." "Idiots. Destroy them." The Vrelian ships opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked toward the Defiant. And something impossible happened. The plasma hit the Defiant's shields and bounced away. The energy reflected back, scattering harmlessly into space. Velthar stood up from his command chair. "What?" "They're shields, Commander. They're reflecting our plasma fire." "That's not possible." "It's happening," Jiwan grinned as the shields held. "Hyun, you beautiful genius. It's working." "Don't celebrate yet," Hyun warned. "The shields are draining power fast. We have maybe 5 minutes before they overload. Then we make those 5 minutes count." Jiwan opened the channel to all ships. "Support vessels, drop your supply pods on my mark. Fill the sky with debris. Make it hard for them to target the colony." The 2 support ships released their cargo. Dozens of pods tumbled toward the planet, spreading out in a wide pattern. The Vrelian targeting systems had to track the pods, splitting their attention. On Meridian 7, Youngji saw the pods falling. One landed near the shelter. She ran out and opened it. Inside were weapons, medical supplies, and something else, armor. The new plasma-resistant armor she had heard rumors about. "Everyone gear up," she shouted. "We're not done yet." In orbit, Velthar was losing control of the situation. His fleet was firing continuously, but the human ship kept reflecting their plasma bolts. Some of the reflected energy was hitting his own vessels. "Commander, the human ship is moving again." Jiwan had turned the Defiant toward Velthar's flagship. Jaehyun pushed the ship to maximum speed. "What is she doing?" Velthar demanded. Jiwan activated the plasma disruptor. The weapon Dohyun had shown the council. It was mounted on the Defiant's bow, experimental and untested in real combat. "Let's see if this works," she muttered. She fired. A wave of energy pulsed out from the Defiant. It washed over the Vrelian flagship. And every plasma weapon on the ship stopped working. Velthar's bridge went dark. Emergency lights flickered on. "Report. All weapons offline, Commander. We're trying to restart them. How long?" "Unknown. The systems aren't responding." Jiwan turned the Defiant toward the next Vrelian ship and fired the disruptor again. Then the next. Then the next. Within 3 minutes, half the Vrelian fleet was helpless. All ships retreat, Velthar ordered. His voice was shaking. Retreat now. The Vrelian fleet scattered, running for the edge of the system. The ships that still had weapons covered the retreat. The ships that didn't fled as fast as their engines could push them. Jiwan watched them go. Jaehyun, stand down. Don't pursue. Why not? We have them running. Because this wasn't about winning. It was about sending a message. On Meridian 7, the plasma bombardment stopped. Youngji stood outside the shelter and looked at the sky. Smoke rose from a dozen impact sites, but they had survived. Her comm crackled. Youngji, this is Jiwan. Status? We're alive. Scared but alive. Good, we're landing in 10 minutes. Bringing supplies and medical teams. Jiwan. Youngji's voice was thick with emotion. Thank you. Thank Hyun. His shield saved us all. In the wreckage of his flagship, Velthar sat in the dark and understood the truth. The humans had not just survived his attack. They had turned his weapons against him. They had made him run. Everything he believed about human weakness was wrong. Everything. And the galaxy would know it soon. 6 months after the Battle of Meridian 7, Ambassador Hana walked into the Galactic Council chambers and felt the weight of 1,000 eyes on her. The chamber was enormous, built to hold representatives from 40 species. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into shadow. Each species had their own section, arranged in a circle around the central speaking floor. The architecture was meant to show equality, but Hana knew better. Some voices carried more weight than others. She wore a simple dark suit. No weapons, no fancy decorations, just the small badge that marked her as Earth's representative. She carried a single tablet under her arm. Elder Korveth, the council mediator, gestured for her to approach the center. He was Pelion, a species that looked like thin birds with scales instead of feathers. They were known for fairness and patience. Ambassador Hana, Korveth said. His voice echoed in the chamber. You have been summoned to address the council regarding recent events. The incident at Meridian 7, the video of Captain Jiwan, the questions about human technology. Are you prepared to speak? I am, Hana said. She walked to the center of the floor. Around her, representatives from dozens of species watched. Some looked curious. Some looked angry. Some looked afraid. The Vrelian section was particularly full. They had sent their entire delegation. At the back, almost hidden, sat Commander Velthar. He looked smaller than Hana expected. Broken. Korveth opened the session. The council recognizes Ambassador Hana of Earth. You may begin. Hana activated her tablet. A hologram appeared above her head, visible to everyone in the chamber. It showed the plasma reflective shield technology. This is what protected our ships at Meridian 7, she said. Her voice was calm and clear. Plasma reflective shielding, developed over 2 years by human scientists and engineers, tested in simulation hundreds of times before field deployment. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Vrelian delegates hissed to each other. Hana changed the hologram. Now it showed the plasma disruptor. This is what disabled the Vrelian weapons, a field generator that neutralizes plasma energy, also developed by humans. Also tested extensively. A Krellid representative stood up. He was massive, covered in thick armor plates. You developed weapons specifically to counter Vrelian plasma technology. This is an act of aggression. No, Hana said firmly. This is an act of survival. The Vrelians have attacked human colonies 12 times in the last 5 years. We lost 2,000 colonists. We had to protect ourselves. By stealing our technology, a Vrelian delegate shouted. We didn't steal anything. We studied plasma physics. We did our own research. The fact that it counters your weapons is because your weapons use plasma. Should we have developed defenses against something else? The chamber erupted in arguments. Species took sides. The noise grew louder. Korveth raised his hands. Order, order in the chamber. The noise faded slowly. Another delegate stood. This one was Shivari, small and quick. What about the video? The human and the plasma torch. Was that technology too? Hana nodded. Yes. Captain G1 was wearing thermal gel and nanoweave fabric, both designed to provide limited protection against heat. She used them to make a point. What point? The Shivari asked. That we're not weak, that we're not helpless, that we deserve respect. A long silence followed. Then Corveth spoke again. Ambassador Hana, the council must ask. What else are you hiding? What other technologies have humans developed in secret? Hana had expected this question. She had prepared for it. But preparation did not make it easier. We have defensive technologies, she said. Armor, shields, countermeasures. We have not developed offensive plasma weapons. We have no interest in starting wars. But you could, Akrelid said. If you can defend against plasma, you can create it. We choose not to. Why should we believe you? Hana looked around the chamber. She saw doubt on alien faces. Fear, suspicion. She took a breath. Because if we wanted to attack, we would have done it already. Commander Velthar's fleet was helpless at Meridian 7. We could have destroyed every ship. We didn't. We let them retreat. She pointed to the Vrelian section. We could have turned your own weapons on you. We could have taken revenge for 12 attacks on our colonies. We chose mercy instead. The chamber was silent now. Even the hostile delegates had nothing to say. Corveth looked at Hana with his bird-like eyes. You make a compelling argument, Ambassador, but the Council still has concerns. If humans can develop such technology in secret, who knows what else they might create? How can we trust you? Hana had been waiting for this. She changed the hologram one more time. Now it showed blueprints, technical specifications, research data, everything about the plasma reflective shields and disruptors. I'm sharing our research with the Council, Hana said. All of it. Every species represented here can study our technology. You can verify that it's defensive. You can even develop your own versions. The chamber exploded with noise again. This time it was shock, not anger. You're giving it away? Someone shouted. I'm sharing it, Hana corrected, with the understanding that it will be used for defense, not aggression, and with the hope that it will level the playing field. No species should have a monopoly on plasma weapons. She looked directly at the Vrelian section. And no species should feel invincible. Velthar stood up slowly. Every eye in the chamber turned to him. He looked old and tired. Ambassador Hana, he said quietly. I was the commander at the border station. I was the one who said no human could endure plasma fire. I remember, Hana said. I was wrong. Velthar's voice cracked. I was arrogant. I thought my species was superior because we had weapons you did not. I thought strength came from firepower. He paused, gathering himself. But Captain Jiwan showed me something that day. She showed me that strength comes from courage, from refusing to accept limits, from preparing for the impossible. The Vrelian delegates around him shifted uncomfortably. I attacked Meridian 7 without authorization, Velthar continued. I wanted to prove that humans were still weak, that the cigarette was a trick. I was wrong about that too. He looked at Hana. My species owes yours an apology, and I offer mine first. I am sorry. Hana felt something shift in the chamber, a release of tension. She nodded to Velthar. Apology accepted, Commander. Corveth stood. This is unprecedented, but perhaps it is exactly what we need. Ambassador Hana has offered transparency. Commander Velthar has offered accountability. The Council must now decide how to move forward. The deliberations took 3 hours. Representatives argued about treaties, borders, technology sharing, and trust. Hana stood in the center and answered every question. She did not hide anything. Finally, Corveth called for a vote. All in favor of establishing new treaties with Earth, recognizing their technological sovereignty and territorial claims. Indicate now. Lights appeared across the chamber. Green lights. Votes in favor. 32 species voted yes. 5 voted no. 3 abstained. The measure passes, Corveth announced. Humanity is hereby recognized as a full and equal member of the Galactic Council, with all rights and protections that status provides. Hana felt her knees weaken. She had done it. The chamber cleared slowly. Delegates filed out, some stopping to speak with Hana, others avoiding her. The Vrelian delegation left quickly, except for Velthar. He approached Hana slowly. Ambassador, I wanted to say something else. Yes? Your Captain Jiwan, is she here? No, she doesn't like politics. She's doing another job somewhere. Velthar almost smiled. Of course she is. Tell her something for me. Tell her that lighting that cigarette was the bravest thing I've ever seen, and the most educational. I'll tell her, Hana promised. Velthar left. Hana stood alone in the empty chamber for a moment, letting the victory sink in. Her calm buzzed. A message from Jiwon, how'd it go? Hana typed back, we won. Full council membership, respect, everything we wanted. A pause, then Jiwon's response. Good. Now can we stop talking and start living? Hana laughed. Yes, I think we can. 3 weeks later, on a station at the edge of known space, a young alien merchant watched a human woman order a drink at a bar. The human pulled out a lighter to light a cigarette. The alien stared at the small flame. It was not plasma fire, just a regular chemical flame. But for a moment he wondered. He remembered the video. He remembered the story. And he realized that with humans you could never be completely sure what was real and what was reputation. The woman noticed him staring. She smiled and raised her cigarette in a small salute. The alien nodded back, respectful and cautious. In the end, that was enough. Respect, caution, and the knowledge that humans were done being underestimated. The galaxy had learned its lesson, and humanity had earned its place among the stars.